Hey guys, I'm Devin.
I'm Diego.
And I'm Max.
Welcome to Baka Burrito. Today's topic is our favorite and least favorite anime. Let's get started.
You want
Max.
this away, Devin?
Sure. So today's lists are essentially just anime that we would either recommend or highly not recommend to beginners or intermediate fans of anime. And I think we have some real doozies on these lists. So I hope you guys enjoy. To start off, I'm going to go ahead and lead in with a controversial pick. Attack on Titan is one of my do not recommend anime.
That is wild.
Yo, I can agree on both ends on that one because I can see why people would love this and hate it. Because first season really got me going because the first season was just awesome. It was revolutionary. Then they waited 4 years and I already lost interest at that point.
That's the thing. For me,
But that doesn't take away from the quality of the actual story.
I agree. I do. The anime
is the anime you don't like?
It's also part of the manga. Once it gets to like chapter 20, I fall off pretty hard. Yeah.
That soon.
Chapter 20 is trash. Everything past that is trash. I think Attack on Titan is...
Okay, instead of saying trash, start explaining. Because I'm going
to. Hold on, I'm getting there. So for me, Attack on Titan is pretty mid-tier as an anime. I think the best part of season 1 is Sasha, the potato girl.
That's 1
out of 10.
Yeah, and Mikasa's kind of cool, but she's really bland. She's like a female Sasuke.
Completely, yeah. Oh no, whoa, Sasuke.
Yeah, they tried to make Sasuke 2.0 and it didn't work out. She's like
She's sad.
Yeah.
She's like, I hate life. My family.
She doesn't hate.
And her family's dead too. They kind of like have that in common.
That's Max. She's the silent.
Every anime character's family is dead.
Exactly. His family is dead. Like, come on. But I don't like her as a character. The crazy part is, of that comparison, I love Sasuke.
No. We need to see. No, hold on. The comparison. Why do you think she's a Sasuke 2.0? Because I've never seen her like that.
Well, the thing is, so
she's more like Sakura than she is like Sasuke.
She's definitely not like Sakura. She's definitely not
in the sense of her character. She's obsessed with Eren, just like Sakura is obsessed with Sasuke.
No, she has one obsession. Sasuke's also obsessed with killing Itachi.
But that's literally their characters.
Yo, but so
like Mikasa's character is her obsession with Eren. Sakura's whole character is her obsession with Sasuke.
To be like this edgy, cool, overpowered female character.
Not edgy though.
I think that's an issue I have with the trope more so than the character. Because I think a lot of strong women characters are poorly written. Namely Mikasa.
She's not poorly written though.
She is.
Alright, but she's not poorly written because her edginess and her what you call edginess, I don't think it's edginess, is, I don't want to say explained, but it's touched upon in the Are you caught up? I don't want to spoil anything for our viewers because I know a lot of viewers don't read the manga. Correct. So I'm not going to spoil anything. But her character is touched upon. Like the reason she is the way she is like the writer knows.
No,
that she's
so
like that.
I'm aware. So like when they cover her backstory of how like he saved her from the people who were trying to kidnap her because she's one of the last Asians.
Notice that she's not edgy. She's just a quiet person. You wouldn't call a quiet person in real life edgy. She's just quiet.
I wouldn't. No. But hers portrays itself in an edginess because she's like, I'll kill you for Eren. I'll protect Eren forever. I'll do this for Eren. Like, I guess you're right. Edgy is the.
I feel like Eren would be more edgy than.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll definitely give you that.
Can we define edge before we because we're gonna be using that word a lot throughout this entire podcast's live thing, and I feel like if we define it now, let me do some Google searches.
I'm already on it.
He's already ready to look that up. But from what it sounds like, Diego, that you say as the manga and anime go farther in, Mikasa's character becomes better, while Devin says, nah, they should have explained that her character a little sooner, so that way I could be invested in her. Is that about right?
Wait, hold on. What'd you say? My bad.
You said that Mikasa's character becomes very developed later on, but then it's
No.
like, oh, so what?
I'm not saying she develops. All right. Well, one, the manga's not done, so I can't, say.
Yeah, we can't say what she.
But the writer knows. It's not like oh, he's just forgetting to write her character better. It's that he's doing it on purpose because that's part of her character. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that's actually touched up on.
I get that.
Her obsession with Eren, her quietness, her how she's an edgy person, how she only has one goal, essentially, is touched upon in the manga. And
I get that, and I've read the manga too, so I know what you're saying. But to me, it's like.
Do you know the scene I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about, but my thing is, like, as I kept getting more into Attack on Titan, I just felt like I started losing interest in it, honestly. It just became at a point where I was like, I can't keep reading this anymore. Like, I'm already like 20 chapters behind again. I'm not gonna probably ever.
I'm not even gonna cap. I'm like 10 chapters, not 10. I'm probably like 5 chapters behind, and I don't see myself picking it up until it's completely over.
So,
but
I have a. Sorry to cut you guys off.
No,
I have a definition of edgy.
That matches, because I looked it up and it was like nervous and tense, and we're definitely not talking about that one.
So the way it's used in slang is an edgy character is a character who can never seem to be happy, and not even for any good reason. They're always angry and look down on others for being happy or for showing callous disregard for the seriousness of things, and seeing them as stupid because they don't know how dark the world really is. Typically, they are characters with tragic backstories.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that shows Mikasa.
All right.
Because Mikasa she's not unhappy. She's not sad for the sake of being sad. She's not, she's just a quiet person, and her only emotional attachment is Eren, and so she's only vibrant as she can be around Eren and Armin.
Okay. Devin, final comments on this, so then we can move on because we're going to run out of time if we keep going on this one.
Right.
So, my reason for not recommending Attack on Titan is it comes down to this. It's a hype anime, much along the lines of one of my other picks, where they got a lot of casual fans very quickly, and it quickly propelled it up to a rating that is much higher than I think it deserves. Like I said before, I think Attack on Titan is a mid-tier anime. I also think it's a mid-tier manga, and it's fine. I hate it because it doesn't deserve the praise it gets.
All right, and now I'll tell you what my first anime that I hate this one so much because it's a high-tier manga. Does everything right in the manga, art style beautiful, and then here they are ruining it for me with Berserk 2016. I swear to God, what were they thinking? They hired a bunch of interns to CGI animate this, which is arguably one of the most dramatic, darkest mangas on the planet, and you give me this goofy shit? I feel
Honestly,
so disrespected when I watched that.
It got the Mass Effect Andromeda treatment.
No, but the Mass Effect treatment was still better than what we got here. It's just like, what were you even thinking when you were animating this? Like, how did you release this product? Because Berserk is a great manga, without a doubt. It's one of my all-time favorites. I know it's one of your all-time favorites, Devin.
Yeah.
But how could you disrespect it so much? Like, the director I even looked up.
I think it goes on to where the anime industry has this problem where they want to piggyback off of names and do the minimum amount of work as possible.
The crazy thing is, 4 years prior to Berserk 2016, now let me clarify, they are not the best adaptation of Berserk, but they are good. There's the trilogy of movies, Egg of the King, Advent of something, and the Advent, Egg of the King, and I forget what the first one is called, or Battle for
Golden Age. It was it was part of the Golden Age arc. Though.
Yeah, it's the Golden Age arc that's done in 3 movies, and I like them a lot. They changed some things from the source material. They don't cover demons as heavily until the end, and the CG's a little bit janky because it was kind of new at the time. And again, the first one came out in like 2012. The last one came out in 2014. and the plans were for that. Apparently, the plans were for that studio to do the show, but they transferred rights and it came out poorly. And truthfully, Max, I don't think anyone on this whole planet will dispute that Berserk 2016 or 17 are
Yeah, thank
are
you.
bad
Yeah.
anime. So
Because
you got,
if anybody will argue that with me, we are gonna have a problem. I'm
so
just
I
saying.
think that one's pretty universal across the board.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna go ahead and move on to Diego's first choice for disliked anime.
Disliked anime. Okay, well, let's see. We already had one controversial, and then we had one universal. So,
Oh.
I literally have only controversial and universal.
That's
So
okay.
I think I'm gonna go with a controversial one, Dragon Ball Z. I think
Which Dragon Ball Z?
no, just Dragon Ball Z, not
Oh,
Dragon
the-
Ball. Not all right. Here, let me preface this with a couple things. I've not watched Dragon Ball or read Dragon Ball. I've only read and watched Dragon Ball Z, and I do not watch Super or read Super.
Okay. So you're talking about Dragon Ball Z Kai, like that.
Yes,
that
yes, that era. That
are you
era.
considering-
From
Are you considering GT as well?
No, I'm not considering.
I would if I were you.
I definitely, because that GT goes on my list also as one of the
I mean,
animes that I hate.
I mean, GT's not good, but I like it's also non-canon, so I don't even want to talk about it. Like, I feel like there's no point in talking about it.
Alright.
But the reasons why Dragon Ball Z, in my opinion, is just not good, is because you could take. I don't expect it to be I don't expect it to be deep or have great writing or anything like that. I expect it to have great fights. That's all it is, right? That's all I want from it. That's all it should be, right?
Yeah.
But even the fights aren't that good. Even the fights are. If you read through the manga, every character for a martial arts anime, how is it that every single character in the universe
Fights the same.
fights exactly the same?
See, that was
Yeah.
that
It's
was
not
less of the
interesting.
case in Dragon Ball. It's funny though. I hate the character work in Dragon Ball more than I hate the character work in Dragon Ball Z. I don't think either of them are necessarily good. I think for Dragon Ball, and this is going to be probably one of the only times I ever defend anything Dragon Ball related. I don't love Dragon Ball. I like some of the characters. I like Gohan. I like Trunks. But that's about as far as I go. I think
Hashtag Yamcha fam.
I think the Wolf Fang Fist, Max. I think the Wolf Fang Fist is one of the coolest techniques in almost all of anime, and it's from Yamcha, but Gohan did it better. But regardless, I think
Oh, or his spit better too.
yeah, we're true. I think that Dragon Ball is a pioneer of the genre of shonen.
Yeah.
We very much have it to thank for Naruto, for Bleach, for
One
like
Piece?
for exactly for One Piece. That one cooking anime with the big dude in the orange jumpsuit, him too.
Todoroki or whatever.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh, Toriko.
Toriko,
yeah.
yeah.
Toriko was something else. Oh.
So, and it borrows heavily from like Journey to the West, and like that's cool. The issue is they borrow or they recycle their animation so much. Like it's like a fist here, and they draw it 3 times, and then like they cycle through that animation, and then like there's a foot every so often, and then everyone does a ki blast. The way ki
Yeah.
was initially described, it was similar to like chakra or like Reitsu from Bleach, and like that was really cool. And then it just got turned into generic anime blast.
Yeah, it literally is just.
And
I don't want to say generic anime blast because it kind of was. I don't want to say the first one, but it was kind of in that era where it was new.
But if you could tell me the difference between Masenko, Final Flash, and Kamehameha,
I can't. I
they-
completely agree with you.
they're just generic
Different
anime
colors.
blast coming from different people.
All right. I think we should change on to the next subject. Diego, your final comments on why you hate all of Dragon Ball.
Okay, well not all, but just for a fighting anime, it doesn't even do fighting the best. Or
Fair enough.
I
Alright.
I agree with that. So are we on to our next dislike?
Yeah, we'll go to our next dislike.
All right. So my next dislike, I can feel the 2014 calling, and it is Sword Art Online. Specifically, everything past the first half of the first season.
I understand that completely.
Once they left the world of SAO, the series falls off hard. They turn a strong female character into a damsel in distress. They make the government call a 16-year-old to handle terrorists and solve a murder. And then they don't ever get back to... And they never get back to what initially drew everyone in. It was like a dot hack, but done in the modern age. And
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of dot hack. And they just never captured the allure again.
Like, my issue is that the first 12 episodes were great, but you had 100 floors to work with here. You could have, if you wanted to, in theory, dedicated an episode per floor if you had wanted to, or more than one episode per floor. But the thing is, though, is they wanted to rush right through it, which bothers me because there was so much to explore in that world. There were so many like different boss fights you could imagine, like different kinds of like strategies to use. And as a gamer myself, I would have loved to watch that.
One of my dislikes that I listed is Sword Art Online, so we don't have to, repeat. We don't have to repeat it.
Yeah, of course.
But the only appeal to Sword Art Online, in my opinion, was the concept, because people that watch anime are also prone to playing video games and thinking about how it would be in a virtual reality. That's the only reason why it became so popular, and I don't think it does that concept well. I don't think it did that concept justice.
I think you do have to take a step back from that though, because I think one of the first anime to do the digital world thing, and do it well was.
But not received as much.
What it was fucking Digimon.
No, never mind.
Was Digimon for sure.
Classic.
Dot hack was one of the first ones to use people in a video game setting. Not the first. I can't actually give you an actual first for that. And that was also handled well. The issue with dot hack is it's multi-medium, and what I mean by that is, in order to get the full story, you have to play the video game, you have to watch the anime, and you have to read the manga, because
for each one
for dot hack, they each tell a different part of the story, and I don't think that's very well handled. It's a good marketing scheme.
It's not a good way to get people into it. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. All right, so Devin.
So you can't really just jump into it. The issue with Sword Art Online is it came at a time very similar to Attack on Titan, where it was getting a lot of publicity very quickly because the concept could appeal to a bunch of casual fans, and that wasn't handled well. It was handled well enough for casual fans for the first 12 episodes, and the first 12 I will recommend to a beginner to anime. Everything past that, I don't think I will. Because when he killed the Gleamize by himself in episode 10, when we knew a level 80 boss needed multiple clans of people to kill, I think...
You said a 40-man raid team.
Yeah, the plot armor really took off from there, and it started going downhill quickly.
Yeah. So, final thoughts on this, so we can move on?
That was my final thought.
Perfect.
So, Max, we can move on to yours. Go ahead.
Yeah, all right. I would just like to say my final thought, because it's also on my dislike list. And... I mean, I can't talk too much about it because my thing is when I dislike something, I don't watch it. So I didn't like Sword Art Online from the very first episode. I've only watched the first 9 episodes because I was forced to by my friends. And I could say there was nothing to it that appealed to me. I felt like the art style was very generic.
Fair.
The fighting was generic. There was literally nothing appealing to me except for the animation and the concept, and those two things can't hold my attention.
Truthfully, on that point real quick, and then we can move on. I'll say the animation style, like if you like anime in general, you'll probably like the art style itself, and I think the animation itself was also generic. They made the fight scenes look beautiful with like after images and like the way they bent lighting. But aside from that, there wasn't anything too special.
You don't think it was fluid? You don't think it was like
it was definitely smooth, but nothing that hasn't been done. Like it was.
They're done that kind of deal.
Yeah,
but it was like You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say passable, but I think it was like a little bit above passable.
Again, it had a high budget, so the animation and the art style were decent. Like again. But they're nothing that hasn't been done before. Um,
Yeah.
So, Max, are we on to your second
Yes,
dislike?
we are. Which, unfortunately, I'm not going to go into one of them because Dragon Ball GT was on my list, and we pretty much it's kind of the same issues I had with GT were in Dragon Ball Z for the most part.
Okay,
Except GT just
that's
turned
fair.
Goku into a kid, and I was super disappointed about that because they tried to pull back the power scaling, but then brought it all the way back up to 100 within 20 episodes. That's the only issue I have with that. We don't
Okay.
have to touch that anymore.
Okay,
Yeah.
then we could just move on to everyone's final round, and then because I know you and I share the last one. I'll go ahead-
we do.
I'll go ahead and let you introduce it.
So, I gotta give a little context to this real quick because Devin and I watched this anime together.
In one sitting.
What's it? Like,
How many
well,
episodes is it?
12 episodes.
It's 12
12
episodes,
episodes?
but it feels like 40 years.
If you want time to skip, this is what you watch. But pretty much the issue pretty much what happened was we were reading the summary of this anime called Divine Gate, and we were like, yo, it seems like a pretty cool premise. A gate that grants wishes is about people trying to go claim the gate to get their wishes granted. Seemed like a really interesting anime to start.
Yeah, to me, it sounds like a baby version of One Piece. 12
Exactly.
episodes, they're going after this concept of a thing. Cool. It's baby One Piece. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, and then the issues came after the first 5 minutes when we started watching it.
If no one's ever seen it, and I don't recommend that you do, you'll realize that quickly that there's a huge exposition dump in the first 7 minutes of episode 1. And we open on a train, and there's a criminal assaulting some random teenage girl, and he's describing events that like these world-building events. But the issue with that is everyone on this train would have been alive for this issue. He's talking about when the gate crashed into Earth.
Okay.
And past this, I cannot tell you what the plot of the show is other than one character's looking for his brother, one character's looking for his father, and one character's looking for his friend.
Wasn't there another character looking for something, but I don't even remember that character is the thing.
King Arthur was looking for something.
And all I know is he might have found it, he might have not. I still don't know.
Doesn't matter.
Is he dead? Is he alive?
Santa Claus was evil.
And Loki was there too.
Correct. So again, I do want to keep this page, this group, Baka Burrito itself, as spoiler friendly as possible. But when I say this is not worth watching, I'm just gonna go ahead and say all of the stakes are immediately removed because all three characters meet who they're looking for on the way to the gate. In episode 10, they all meet the thing they're gonna wish for, and then it loses all stakes because all three of those people sacrifice themselves so that their people can get to the gate. So the three main characters make it to the gate where they were gonna wish for their father, brother, and friend. And there's immediately no stakes because the father, brother, and friend just sacrificed themselves so that they could get to the gate. So they no longer have a wish. They got to say their final thoughts. They got to say their... So I don't want to... Yeah, they got closure, and they just decide to give up on the gate. They're like, we got here, but we're not going to go in. It's fine.
And we're forgetting the most important plot point. King Arthur's over there, like, all of a sudden in a dark outfit, like, hiding in the middle of the gate, and I don't even know what he's going on. Like,
got brainwashed, but I had to Google that.
Well, did he? I'm still not sure, like...
He did get brainwashed.
So,
it
was again, explained at the very least.
I don't want to be too negative. I will say the art style, beautiful. The effects for their weapons and shit, beautiful. Could I tell you what they were fighting for? Not at all.
What show is it called again?
It's called Divine Gate.
Divine Gate?
Just don't do it.
Yeah, it's based on a manhwa, I believe. I believe it's Korean in origin. Oh, and they have a fire opening. The opening to that show is straight flame, straight heat. It's amazing. I cannot give it more praise, but it's attached to a terrible anime. So we're gonna move on to Diego's last choice because I think I've said it all, right, Max?
Oh, you touched on everything. I still don't know what we were talking about because Divine Gate just goes right out my memory every time we talk about it, just like the show.
All right, so my last choice. Okay, so this is a universal one that I feel like a lot of people dislike. It's Fairy Tail.
Whoa!
I have feelings about that.
Yo, you in the room of enemies right now, my guy.
I don't know about enemies. I want to hear his reasoning.
No, okay, but here's the thing.
Before we
Here's the
roast
thing.
him.
We've been talking about hate. We've been talking about hate, right?
Yeah.
And I don't hate any of the anime that I've listed because in order for you to hate someone or hate something, I feel like you need to know a lot about it,
Yeah.
and you need to have a lot of emotions towards that. Hate's a strong emotion, and I really don't have it. But I dislike it because it had so much potential and it went almost nowhere with it. It just kept repeating the same cycle. It's kind of like
Bleach.
it's Dragon Ball Z too. It's kind of like Dragon Ball Z, where they were just the characters weren't growing in ways that were meaningful, and the
So you
character
had
arc.
an issue.
Well, I think the character thing that you were just talking about, I will agree and disagree. I think the side characters grew a lot.
Oh yeah.
I think the main characters, aside from Lucy, because again, a lot of people forget Lucy is the main character of Fairy Tail. It's not Natsu. Natsu is a main character, but Lucy is the first character we meet. She's the first person we see.
She's the last person we see
and
at
she,
the end.
she's pretty much the pivotal point of a lot of the arcs of Fairy Tail. I like Fairy Tail for pretty much the same reasons you hate it. I think it's very good for beginners. I think it's very beginner friendly.
It is very beginner friendly.
I think.
Just to give some background, I think it's important to give some background that I've only watched. I want to say like 200 episodes. I want to say
that's a lot of episodes.
Said.
I'm telling you, I used to love it, but I realized to a point where there was just I could be spending my time watching things that give me more. I was looking for more from Fairy Tail.
So
and when I went
understand.
200 episodes and didn't get that, I was like, I don't feel like there's any reason for me to continue watching it when I've already seen the arcs that I've seen.
So the thing is, I'm of the mind that Fairy Tail is a decent anime. It's not great by any stretch of the imagination, except the Grand Magic Games, and I will die on this hill. The Grand Magic Games is handled better than Naruto's Chunin exams, and I am talking about Part 1 Naruto.
Wait, the Grandmaster's game, is that the arc where they're like trying to where like Natsu fights guild arts?
No, so the Grand Magic Games is the arc after after they go missing for 7 years.
I think that's when I stopped watching it. I think I watched the arc after.
So after they go missing for 7 years, they register into the Grand Magic Games, which decides who the strongest guild is. And they have this whole battle against Sabretooth and the other guilds. And it's a series of tests.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch that.
So during that arc, they have literally something for everyone. If you like fan service, there's literally a swimsuit competition. It's the funniest thing. But they only spend like a half an episode on it. They have character moments after character moments. They have emotional moments. Like, I think the Grand Magic Games is the pinnacle of what Fairy Tail should have been the entire time. And what it sounds like you were missing the character growth. There's a character.
Not character growth, because my thing is, I'm not big on, my characters need to develop. You know, my favorite manga is One Piece, and the characters there don't develop after their character arc. Oh, they grow a little bit, but they don't develop much after their individual character arcs. What I'm missing is the way the characterization is in Fairy Tail is just not up to par to my standards.
Have you considered that it's like that on purpose? Because they use caricatures of characters, and then they flesh those out. They're not writing individual characters, they're writing archetypes so that there's something there for everyone. Because there's a brainiac character, there's a good-looking character, like, there's someone there for you, you know what I mean? Like, for example, my favorite character is Sting. Sting, the Dragon Slayer of Light, or is it White? It's one of those two. It's a light.
It's light.
Yeah. So
there's darkness and light. In the whole.
So he's very much like me. He's like then they give him actual character development. So to the point where spoiler, he becomes the leader of a guild. Like he becomes the guild master. And I think his arc, even though it's brief, is handled so well. And I do understand what you mean though, because it's not the greatest anime, and there are plenty of moments where you're disappointed if you're a fan of Fairy Tail. but I
I
do
think-
think it
I
does
think-
things well.
All right, when
All
you
right,
said
Diego, final thoughts on this. So we
All right,
gotta
all
move on because we're gonna run out of
Yeah,
time eventually if we don't speed
all
this
right, when you said it's it does it on purpose, I don't think it does it on purpose because it can do better. I think it does it on purpose because Hiro Mashima, I think that's the creator of Fairy Tail. I don't think he can do better. I don't think, yeah, he's doing archetypes and that's great and everything, and he's doing caricatures, that's great. But he's not doing it in a creative way. He's doing it in a very standard, just everything about Fairy Tail is just standard. It's like, it just met it didn't meet its potential, it makes a bar of
Well, I think
passable.
I don't think that it's not that he can do better because you have to remember this is the same guy that wrote Rave Master, and that show was handled very well. Matter of fact, it's where they got the design for Gray.
and Flew the dog.
And Flew the dog, yes.
Yeah.
So I do recommend reading Rave Master because again, it's pretty well written. It is shonen and it's designed for teens, but I do think he can do better, and I think that's part. But I do get what you're saying. I understand why you're disappointed in Fairy Tail.
All right.
So,
Diego, Devin, you're both competing to see who's gonna hate you more for your taste in hating anime.
Well, I got all the
that.
Dragon Ball Z, Sword Art Online, and Fairy Tail
So,
fanboys.
Devin's over here with Attack on Titan.
So is that
Sword Art Online.
everyone's third dislike?
That is all of our dislikes. I think it's time to move on to animes that we do like.
All right. So now for positivity, we are going to go ahead and move on to anime that we like. These aren't necessarily our favorites. These are anime that we really do enjoy that we would recommend to anyone who's trying to get started, who's trying to, who's trying to like just feel their way around the anime scape if they want something new to watch. Hopefully one of these can go ahead and spark your interest.
And there's a lot to choose from here, so.
Yeah, we definitely all have more than 3, like our original prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with one honorable mention, and we can all run through one honorable mention. No explanation, just an honorable mention.
Just for you guys to check out at some point on your own if you're ever interested.
Okay.
So
That's
my first honorable mention is Fairy Tail. We did just talk about it, but I will go ahead and put that as an honorable mention.
You can talk about the positives, you know.
Well,
I mean,
You already
I
kind of
already
did when it was
but
already
I do think we should save the positives for our favorite.
We'll be here all day if we.
Yeah.
talk
Okay, yeah, you're
about
right.
it.
So go ahead and give one of your positives. Either of you guys?
All right, one of my other positives is
Wait, is this honorable mentions or
honorable
Yeah,
mentions.
it's an honorable mention from your positive list.
One of my honorable mentions has to be JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. It's the ultimate meme
I
show. Check it out.
I wouldn't recommend it to someone starting out though.
No,
but I
you're
do
not-
agree. But I do agree. I feel like everyone should at least give it a try. At
Well,
least.
if you go into the anime community, I feel like you have to at least watch a couple episodes of this
I'll
to
go,
get.
I'll
at
go
the
ahead and
references.
I'll go ahead and say this now so that all of our friends can hate us or hate me rather. I also dislike JoJo's. I don't
that
like.
definitely should have been one of your dislikes. We could
I
have
would've
had a
loved
good
art.
discussion.
I know we've had the discussion in the past, and I'm sure we'll have a discussion on JoJo's in the future. But I get pretty passionate about
Because we
JoJo's.
literally have all three of like I feel like we have all three between you, Devin, Max, and then me. We have all three like versions of how someone is gonna leave their experience with JoJo.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
someone
so
that hates
Diego,
it.
we gotta move
Yeah.
on. What's your honorable mention?
All right, fine. My honorable mention is I think Kuroko no Basket.
I do
I'm
love
a-
that.
That's
Love
fair.
sports anime, so yes.
Yeah, it got me into basketball because I needed that fantasy element to get into basketball.
That's fair.
'cause
That's like high key with Max.
Oh,
I don't-
yeah.
I don't
Every
like
sport,
I don't
swish.
like watching the NBA or any sport, but I do like playing sports. So having that fantasy element just gave me, helped me. I don't want to say relate to it because I'm not a superhero, but
But
No,
to
but
actually get involved.
it gave it interest. It gave it interest.
All right,
Okay.
perfect. Now let's
Alright,
get on
so-
to our actual anime that
All
we
right,
like.
so my number, well, no, in no particular order, by the way, guys. Just
Yeah.
because I'm not sure how I'd rank these against each other because, especially mine, they are so different. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with The Adventures of Sinbad. Magi in general, because there's 3 seasons, but specifically The Adventures of Sinbad. Um, if you don't know, it's Sinbad is the way Magi works is there are these things called dungeons, and people go in them to capture them. And when you capture successfully capture
And
a
that
dungeon,
already is a great concept.
exactly,
That
exactly.
already is.
These dungeons that pop up randomly in the world, and they're occupied by these things called jinn, like genie, and they can be stored in metal vessels, which can be a sword, an earring, a belt, anything that's made of metal. They can store themselves in, and the person who captured the dungeon is able to use their power. Now you have Sinbad, who so they wrote a spin-off series that's just about his upbringing. He is the strongest character in Magi. He is a multi-dungeon capturer, and it's all about his uprising. And I think they cover the adventure aspect fantastically. They cover comedy so well. There's so many sex jokes if you like that kind of thing, but they're done tastefully. There's an episode where they literally spend the entire thing in a hole, butt naked, with a leaf on their Johnsons. Like it's the funniest thing. And I just think the character's so well written, and he's relatable. He wants peace. He wants to form a nation of his own. Maybe it's not that relatable, but it's relatable if maybe it's relatable if you're just like me, because I want more. And I think if you're like that, you can relate to Sinbad.
All right.
So that'll be my pick. If anyone has any comments, I already covered my final thoughts.
Never watched it before in my life. I know you recommended it to me, but like I just haven't gotten to it. But that's what the other like 20 animes.
It's on Netflix.
I'll get to it one day.
I'll read the manga.
That's great too. So
right.
Who's next?
I'm up next, and this one is one that's near and dear to my heart. It's an anime called Majors for anybody who's a sports fan. Like, it loves baseball, for instance. Never watched anime. This is a great anime to get involved with because it's based in the realm of reality for the most part. In terms of there's only so much you could go with reality.
Yeah, anime reality. Let me clarify.
Like, the kid could throw like 100-mile-per-hour fastball in high school. That's not necessarily reality, but like it's closer than almost any other freaking sports anime out there.
Remember, he's just an average teenage kid.
Yeah, they can pitch 100
that
miles
weighs
per
like
hour.
300 pounds.
To give you guys
like
some context, and I don't want to spoil too much about this anime overall because it's over 100 episodes. It's the real story is not necessarily about baseball, but about the characters growing and trying to improve themselves as they keep going throughout life. You watch the character Goro go from being a little kid that loves baseball to trying to realize his dream of being a pro. And to me, a lot of people can relate to trying to follow their dreams, trying to accomplish their goals. And just watching him, though, go through so much strife and so much struggle throughout his entire childhood, because I can't tell you half the struggles he goes through because major spoiler territory.
Yeah, of course.
But you just, every time you overcome something, you get this sense of satisfaction because it doesn't feel like it was handed to him. And as you continue to go on throughout the entire story, you just see him like overcoming obstacle after obstacle, forgiving certain people for things that have occurred, and just growing as a human being. And it's something that I personally relate to a lot. Somebody who's done sports for a long time, like just be going through those kind of struggles, those hardships of not being able to accomplish my goal right away, and being able to get just eventually overcoming some of it, but sometimes not even overcoming those goals. Because like Devin, you're an athlete too, like. And Diego, you are too. Like, you know the struggle of the nerve there for Devin. But going to, like, for me, like, one of my struggles was losing in the state finals with my team. Heartbreaker. But it's something I relate to because similar things happen in the show. It doesn't give the protagonist this ultimate shield that he can win anything, which I really love about it.
So I have a question. So obviously there's something there for people who relate to the underdog, but what about people who like the dominant, forceful characters who are like completely overpowered? Do they have any of those?
Oh, they got
so
many of those. First of all, Goro is overpowered in his own right, but he's always on these underdog teams. But he has a rival and his childhood friend, of course, his childhood friend, like always, who's actually a catcher, which is the opposite position of a pitcher, the supporting role.
Typically how that works.
Yeah, always typically. But it's really cool because, like, I believe his name is Sato. No, not Sato. Saito. Saito is his name, and he's a smart dude. He's the opposite of Goro in every way. Goro's I'm going to pitch fastball after fastball down the middle and take on the person head to head. Well, his friend's like, no, let's strategize here. Let's pitch around these people. Let's actually use baseball strategy and not let this person smack a home run off of us. Because you really
all right.
I'm sorry, I'm super passionate.
I know. I get it. It is now Diego's turn for one of his positives. I get it. I absolutely understand, though. The passion. I wanted to go on for days about Sinbad.
Yeah, that's why I need somebody to stop me from going on and on about something I love. Diego, the floor is yours.
All right, so recommended. Okay, so I guess one of the ones I'll recommend a lot is Parasite. Parasite the Maxim. I don't know, have you guys watched it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I watched it, yeah.
Yeah, I think the concept itself is a great eye opener for some people. You know, you got this concept of aliens coming in and they dress and walk, talk, just like humans, except they're emotionless. They're completely logical beings. And that in itself, having one of the main characters be this alien and then the other main character be a human, which
have them share the body.
Which is really cool. It's like kind
I
of
don't
like
want to spoil that, but yeah, share the body.
It's not really a spoiler.
It's in the synopsis, actually.
Oh, it's in the synopsis?
Yeah, when you go on Netflix.
And it's in every, like, you know.
Yeah, it's the image that they use.
Yeah, if you got spoiled by that, you obviously don't read. That's all I'm going to say.
You don't have eyes.
Or just
pretty much.
Yeah, but yeah, they share a body, and they're so different in the beginning. You know, one's an alien, logical. He's basically like a computer, or an insect is how they describe them.
Yeah.
Yeah, an insect is how they describe them, and it's almost the complete opposite of how we describe humans, which are emotional creatures, right? So just watching them interact by that alone is interesting. Minus the, like, we don't even have to get into the plot or the conflicts. Just watching, you know, it's almost like I don't want to say a rom-com, but it's almost like a what are those animes called where it's slice of life?
Oh yeah.
It's like a slice of life with a twist. That in itself is interesting.
I also agree in the sense that, like, I also think there are some very strong character moments.
The character development,
like, especially for some of the emotionless beings, some of the things they choose to do is really just like it's a lot. It goes, wow. It really makes you think about what is humanity. So I do think that's a good think piece type of anime. I absolutely agree with you.
And it's not, I don't want to say it's deep in the way that it goes deep into its thought and into its themes, but it sure is, like, it gets you thinking. You know what I'm saying?
I'll argue the opposite. I'll argue that it is, because again, it handles it like a shonen anime, a mystery anime, but it's still, like, the themes are deep, like, because humanity, like, what is humanity as a question is for sure deep.
Oh no, the themes are deep. I'm saying it doesn't go deep into the themes.
Fair. Certain characters do, but they touch on it. Like,
I feel like they touch on it. And then,
they can go deep.
Because there's no like answers, so it's more like it just gets you thinking. So yourself.
But I do like that they leave it open-ended like that. I agree with you. Yeah, I do.
I honestly feel like that's the best way, because honestly, you know, like, no one knows the answers to any of these questions.
Exactly, and it's not pushing a narrative. It lets the audience sit there and think with the information they just got.
It's not trying to do too much, which I like about it. It's not trying to, like, overwhelm the audience or overwhelm the reader, the watcher, but they give enough information to keep me involved and interested, and keep making me think, but not make me think too hard, because sometimes brain don't work so good.
Yeah, and it's just good. It's just such a great experience to see an emotionless being, you know, spend time with an emotional being and a logical, you know. Which is a great dynamic. The characterization, the character growth, it's so subtle not subtle, but
it is
in a subtle way. It's subtle growth.
The things that happen, they are handled pretty subtly. Truthfully, like they are
Well,
handled.
besides the one moment, but that's like traumatic event, so it's
Correct. Yeah.
supposed to be not subtle.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you there. So
All right,
before because I feel all of us tiptoeing around the spoilers. So
yeah,
let's push this along.
So I'm gonna go ahead and move on past this one.
We're done.
So for my second choice, I'm gonna go ahead and say Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans.
Oh my God, this man's talked about this
I
anime
have-
so many times.
I have watched Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans 6 times in its entirety, dub and sub.
and you'd recommend it to someone?
I would recommend it to everyone.
He's a diehard Gundam boy.
I'm not.
Iron-Blooded Orphan specifically.
No, because I also like 00, but I wouldn't recommend that to everyone.
It's a different kind
How
of
many
taste.
episodes does it have?
Iron-Blooded Orphans is 50 episodes. It's 2 seasons.
Okay.
It's also on Netflix and Gundam Info. We're not sponsored, by the way. Gundam Info has all of their episodes up for free on YouTube. If you want, and they're compiled in these neat little playlists, so you can go ahead and find all of them if anyone is interested in watching any Gundam. So anyway.
Oh, we should also we should have been doing that, but go on.
We should have what? Telling them where they can find it?
Yeah. Parasite, the Maximum is on Netflix, by the way.
Let's just put it this way: Crunchyroll, Netflix, or Funimation. You'll find it on one of the 3 usually.
True.
Yeah.
But in a case like this, the same would be like if we were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! They have them for free on YouTube on their official channels. Those are pretty chill. So, Iron-Blooded Orphans follows a group of child soldiers who get roped into a conflict with the strongest military force from Earth. I should probably preface this with they're from Mars.
The colony from Mars, right?
Yeah, well, Mars as a planet. The entire planet is colonized. But yeah, it is.
They're not like aliens. It's like
no, they're humans from
okay.
who were born in space or on Mars. They're called space rats or human debris for some characters. So pretty much they're viewed as less than human by the Earthlings because beings from Earth are seen as superior. So it's a political drama of trying to get this woman, Kudelia, to Earth to fight for the liberation of Mars from Earth. And you follow this ragtag group of, again, they're kids, but they're thrown into these instances where they have to be adults. You have the leader Orga, who has to organize these group of literal teenagers. Like I think their oldest members are 17 at the beginning. He has to organize them to be a strong military power, and he has to find a way to they get roped in with the mafia at some point because they need a way to Earth. They start striking these backhanded deals with Gallarhorn, which is their primary antagonist, who is the military force from Earth, because there's dealings from there. And it really goes to show, like, the show is done in such a way that, yeah, you have the side you're rooting for, but are they really the heroes? If you like badass fights, you have these mecha battles on a scale of no other. Like, they're fighting in space, they're fighting on a beach, they're fighting in a city. They have some of the best, like, dynamics. Like, the way Gundam has utilized combat and environment for combat, I truly believe Iron-Blooded Orphans is one of the best ones. The only Gundam series I would say handles their combat better would be Thunderbolt. But that's primarily space combat. This gives you a little bit of everything. But yeah, so I recommend Iron-Blooded Orphans because I could keep going. Also, hashtag Team Shino. We out here. So, Max, what's the second one?
All right, this one is perfect for anybody trying to get involved in anime, and it's one that I know Devin also loves, but didn't put on his list for some reason. It's Konosuba.
Oh yes, Konosuba. It's
one of the funniest animes I ever seen because it takes the isekai genre and just says, you know what? We are going to have as much fun with this concept as we can. You got the leader of the group. You got like this basic stereotypes of every character, like you'd ever see in isekai. You got the mage, you got the paladin, you got it all, but they're all have like
done in a way that's so poor.
Yeah, but so poor, but so perfect at the same time, because like it makes it so much more relatable because the characters are just so not perfect. Like they're just beyond. Like I'm just like, bro, like what hashtag Team Megami. But she's like the explosion mage and just only attacked once.
At all times in this anime, like you realize that all of the characters are complete, for lack of a better, they're complete screw ups. Like they mess up everything, but they mean well.
But they are your screw ups when you're watching it. You're just like, I cannot help but root for them every time I'm watching it. And
it's like having a dumb puppy.
Exactly. It's adorable. You can't stop watching it ever. And the best part about the whole show is like they're always thinking of new creative ways to like make you laugh. Like they're always like taking different types of genres, different types of like situations you see in almost every single isekai that would go out the same way and make it funny. They take that genre where like the villain would appear and ready to do battle with the heroes and just completely turn it upside down and just go a completely different direction you did not see coming. And that's the moment the show is just like, you need to have like 20 seasons of this because I can't get enough. And
also, the movie is amazing. The movie is amazing.
Put it this way, if you never want to watch an episode of Konosuba, watch the movie at the very least. And just as a separate movie in general, not even counting anything alone, is a 10 out of 10. It's just done so well.
Oh, wow, he gave it a high rating.
Yo,
damn.
You know I love comedy animes, so
I get it.
But like, as in terms of comedy animes, it's like number 2 actually on my list of comedy animes, and number 1's the next one I'll pick after we go through everybody else.
Okay, cool. So, Diego, what's your second pick for recommend or like?
Okay, my second pick is for recommend is Hunter x Hunter.
I love it.
I
never watched a day in my life.
Max, I don't know.
Max, you're missing out. You would love it.
Well, give me an explanation. I'm gonna be like,
all right, viewers right now. Here you go. Here, I'm gonna recommend this to you, Max.
All right, I'm ready.
Hunter x Hunter is a great shonen anime in the sense that it gives more than just what a shonen usually gives, if that makes sense. It gives a great power system. It's one of the most creative power systems out there because it's so meticulously thought out that you just can't. You almost want to make your own power. Just constantly. I find myself wanting to create my own Nen ability.
We definitely have a topic on this coming up.
Yes. And Max, you need to watch it just so you can make your own Nen ability.
You're not really selling me here though, man. Like I need some more.
The issue with Hunter x Hunter is it covers so much stuff. There's not really a fair way to summarize it in one go because each arc is so different from the next.
Okay. I mean, here, I'll just summarize it real quick. All right, so it's about the main character's name is Gon, and he wants to. He was abandoned as a kid by his dad because his dad wants to be a hunter, and in the Hunter x Hunter world or Hunter x Hunter world, hunters are these like they're pros at hunting. Hunting, okay. But not just like animals. They hunt for treasure. They hunt for money,
people,
political power, people.
Whatever they want.
Yeah, whatever you want. The
great
one
father. How about hunting for a good father?
Well, I mean, that's what he's
doing.
Oh, so I got his motivation already.
That's kind of why. Oh, go ahead.
That's his motivation, hunting his father. And the thing is that Gon is such a I don't want to say unique, but it's interesting in the way that he doesn't resent his father for leaving him. He wants to find out why it's so important for his father to be a hunter, so that's why he wants to be a hunter.
I think what really makes him unique is, in my opinion, I think Gon is handled the way a kid would actually react in a world like this. If you give a little kid that much power, like, if you think of Gon...
talent?
Yeah, that much power, that much talent. Gon is essentially
but the thing is that
he's like a selfish character. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
like
he is selfish, yeah.
Yeah, but he's good, but he's a selfish character. I like how nuanced all of the characters are, especially Gon, because he's handled like if you gave a 12-year-old the ability to do whatever he want, like he would probably do something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think one of the best things about it is how much detail Togashi puts into almost everything the manga has. Or the anime has. He puts so much detail into the characters' motivations, thoughts, character abilities, and then he puts so much detail into the power system, into the world. Although sometimes he does go a little bit overboard with like the narration, and he gives us information we don't need,
I
but it's still acceptable for world building
agreed.
and for,
Agreed.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it could get, there are times where it's like we didn't need to know that, but it's almost like I'm glad we do know it. Does that make sense?
All right, and I think that's where we'll have to wrap that one up because we need to
Yeah.
keep this
Yep.
moving along. We keep getting wrapped up in these, and I love that we have so much passion here, but we sometimes get a little distracted as we keep talking about our favorite animes.
That's fair. So my final choice for highly recommend. This one is also. We haven't really touched on anything that's super female friendly. I know anime isn't just for boys, but I do recognize that specifically shonen is targeted towards teenage boys. Um, However, if you're like me or you like rom-coms at all, um, well, Max, I put you onto those too.
Oh man, the types you recommended
I
to me are wild.
I will have to say one of the best anime, especially if you're trying to get a significant other, a female or like a younger sister, a younger sister, your mom or like someone else into anime that has a good use of like the romance dynamic. I would have to say my teen comedy Snafu.
Oh
Is
man.
is one of my top 10 anime of all time. Um, Truthfully, I think it's so well handled. It's about a cynical teenage boy who doesn't understand the need for human attachment or human emotion, but he understands the psychological of people. So he self isolates and he thinks most things are pointless and useless. So he has one of the best teachers in anime forcibly sign him up for a club where he meets a girl who also detaches from things, but she wants to be useful to people. Um, and then hilarity ensues and feelings happen, and it's a great story. It's wholesome. Um, I think Hikigaya Hachiman, that's the main character.
Hachiman?
I think he's one of the best handled male protagonists in a story like this because it doesn't just like diverge itself into a harem. It's handled in a way where it's like he's trying to make friends, and yes, sometimes feelings happen.
And
Um,
it was like the romance part. There is that part there, but there's a bigger emphasis on having a human connection at all,
well,
which I
well,
like.
well.
That I know what you mean, but I'm saying that the
I'll
emotional
I'll have
connection
to
is part of
say
it.
that obviously the human attachment is important, but the romance is part of like is one of the biggest factors in the story as to where it goes. Um, the biggest issue I will say with the show is it does drastically change art styles after season one for a more grounded style for season two and three. However, I don't think it's a bad thing. Um, and I will say one of the biggest pros is all of the female characters are actually characters. Um, like they have development, they have reasoning for what they do. Save like one or two side characters. But
Yeah.
other than that, again, my teen comedy snafu would have to be my number one recommendation slash list. Max, what's your number one?
All right, my number one is the number one comedy anime, and the one that's right behind the one we mentioned before. It's Gintama. It is the anime that got me through high school. It is the funniest show to me of all time because it's a type of show that doesn't just hold itself to one genre. They go after every kind of anime. If you want a show that's gonna touch base on almost every like genre, you want like a little idea of what every anime is about with a comedic twist, Gintama is the anime for you because it's got over 300 episodes. The characters break the fourth wall. It has a little bit of like a Deadpool feel some episodes, and it's just to see the main character isn't necessarily Sakura Gintoki, the main character, but it's there's everybody. Like, all the characters are the main character, and they touch on that in one episode. Where Gintama isn't about just one character. It's about all these, like, hundreds of characters they've accumulated over every different arc.
The biggest thing that I think you're missing from that is Gintama is very much a show that's about connections.
Exactly.
Like it sounds like the typical shonen babble, like power of friendship, but it's not. It's the power of connections, like, because they handle serious things like in life, like depression and isolation and things like that, in a way where when the show is dark, it's morbidly dark.
Oh, beyond belief.
But then they use the connections. Max and I have had this talk before, so I don't want to take too much of his thunder away. But I feel like he said it best one time when we were talking about it, where he said it reminds you a lot that even at your worst, there's someone there that wants to help and that cares.
Exactly. In all honesty, though, if you're looking for an anime, though, that is super long, has a lot of rewatchability, and just it tugs at your heartstrings, will make you cry, make you laugh, I couldn't recommend an anime more than Gintama. It's just one of those shows that just please watch it. Just do yourself that favor.
All right, and Diego, for your last one.
My last one, man. I haven't even chosen what my last one is. I have a list.
Oh, man.
I'm just picking up at this list as we go. My last one would have to be Death Note. And these are all my recommended are for people that haven't watched anime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I feel like Death Note is such a good it's so not anime, if that makes sense. Like, there are a lot of shows like Death Note that are live action that are for the Western audience.
I agree.
That I feel like someone that has never watched anime could it'll ease them into accepting anime more. You know what I'm saying?
I'll say one thing about easing into anime. Like, there's a lot that happens in Death Note. And, like, I maybe wouldn't recommend as the #1 anime you start with, but I recommend as, like, the 5th or 6th one. Like, get your feet wet a little bit first before jumping into Death Note right away. That'd be my argument there.
I'm inclined to disagree with you, Max, because I think Diego's right in this, but only if you're like one of those people that likes crime shows, like if you like a CSI type of thing, if you like a
if
you like a
investigation,
yeah,
if you're into that investigation storyline, that
or if you like
trying to catch a criminal, paranormal. All right, so to summarize Death Note, there's a kid that has he comes across this supernatural book called the Death Note. If you write a name on it, you can kill someone, and he ends up getting a god complex from this because now he becomes the judge and executioner. So as he's doing this, obviously we can't have a teenager running around thinking he's a god and able to execute everyone. So the police get involved and they try to catch him. And the way he tries to avoid the police, the way he tries to kill the lead detective, the way the lead detective gets to him is just so... It's just one of the greatest battles.
It's a great cat and mouse game, in my opinion.
It's purely strategic. It's because it's not physical battles at all. For anyone who doesn't know about the show, it's no physical battles except like one, I think, and it's not even like that's not even
a physical battle.
Exactly.
It's tennis.
They're essentially. Oh, and one thing you did forget to say is, his goal initially is to just kill criminals with the Death Note.
It spirals later, but we don't want to go too much into that because it's spoilers, you know.
Yeah. There are some spoilers, but yeah, his goal initially is he just wants to create a better world by killing criminals, and then eventually everyone will catch on that there's someone watching, that there's a god watching, and so everyone will be more inclined, if their life is on the line, to do good things. That's his goal. Although, to say if his goal is right, if he has the, if he's the one that should be able to judge these criminals, is
because it goes to
the topic. I like that it leaves a lot of its themes up to interpretation because it doesn't ever give conclusive answers as to who's right, who's wrong, whose methods work, whose methods don't. It's a think piece at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, I feel like there is a bias.
There's for sure a bias,
because
but
of the end of the end.
But it is a think piece at the end of the day, because regardless of how that ending happened, there were results. There were positive results either way.
For both,
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's where we should leave it there.
Yeah.
Because if we say any more, people might get too much info and not even want to watch it.
We're gonna be out here spoiling everything.
Exactly.
All right, we've been Baka Burrito. I'm Devin.
I'm Diego.
And I'm Max.
We hope you enjoyed and hope to see you next time.
Peace.